I can mention one show and any anime fan will dash for the hills as soon as they hear it. Mushoku Tensei. Mushoku Tensei quickly became one of my favorite anime series of all time. While some people don't agree with the series as a whole, I won't blame them. They must see it like we're Dr. Disrespect fans defending their king even after he admits to having casual, mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Okay, Mr. 42-year-old two-timer. Putting that aside, I think Rudius is willing to grow and change as a person. The events that happen in his life cause him to reconsider his character, and the people around him cause him to reflect on his values and ideals to change them to how he wants to live his second chance in life. Mushoku Tensei may not be for everyone, but for me, it showed me how to change as a person and what redemption really looks like.
Oh, remind me of your grace.
I get it, alright? When someone mentions Mushoku Tensei, the first thing you want to do is check their hard drive. Some fans can be weird like that, and it'd probably do them some good to go to rehabilitation. Imagine going to a group therapy session and someone goes, "Yeah, I'm here because I find children and cartoons attractive." Like, no duh, you would want to clown them and have them strung up by their little guys. My point is, there are people who give Mushoku Tensei a bad rep. Some fans like the show for the wrong reasons. I'm here to show you that there is hope in this desolate world. The story of Mushoku Tensei is one of change. Obviously, many people would have dropped the show long ago if Rudius had kept being a blatant creep all of the time. At first, Rudius is someone who is perverse, crude, and disrespectful. Due to the events in his past life, it's almost as if the reincarnation was actually a hard reset. He had to spec into the friendly-natured, good-willed person skill tree instead of making a blunder and going with the same asshole creep build that led to him being disowned. He genuinely gets better as you go through the show. From a fuckboy to a fuckboy with empathy, he has his own hardships, and quite frankly, some of these struggles he faces are difficulties that no one wants to go through. Some are exclusive to certain groups of people, but grieving a loved one is a universal experience that we all have to face. To dive deeper into it, Rudius is not well developed in the emotional department throughout the first half of season 1. He is forced to go on these dangerous adventures, but there are certain moments where he doesn't understand the full scope of the deep shit he's in. In Fortnite terms, he was trying to third-party a fight when Gojo pulled out the Hollow Purple and nearly wiped the second squad. He fails to see certain signs and takes words at face value. This makes relationships that he cherishes very much have a falling out. Unlike the many other cookie-cutter isekai, Rudius's new life isn't a straight shot. It's unlike being a jet in Valorant and throwing out your quote-unquote lineups for smokes. Think about it like you're a Sova main trying to invent the most convoluted and demonic recon bolt lineups. I would equate this to CSGO smoke setups, but I haven't seen anyone mention that game in months. At least Valorant is in the news, even if that's because of Zoomer culture and Overwatch tier balance patches making Neon canonically a god. These hiccups in Rudius's character is what makes him appealing. Being as flawed as he is makes it that much more fulfilling when he actually learns to be an operating member of society. He wants to be someone who can be relied upon. There's not another time where he'll make loved ones wait on him. Even through tragedy, he will do anything it takes to ensure the safety of those he treasures. Rudius going into season 2 seems like a completely different person. He is bordering between his identities of being a loved family member in the isekai world and reliving his traumas from his past life. When he's left to fend off for himself, he can't help but to distrust everyone. I think a lot of people know what it means to feel betrayed. They didn't necessarily have to stab you from behind, but knowing that a friend of yours went to do something behind your back can be heartbreaking. If you don't know this feeling, then you may relate to Rudius' self-isolating sabotage. He takes the relationships he does have for granted in favor of wallowing in filth by himself. We see him get up and get going, fall to rock bottom because he couldn't get up and get going, and then try to climb back up, but it almost results in him taking his own life. It's so sudden in the moment that you have to feel sorry for him. That spike of emotional intensity is harsh on anyone's mental. No one deserves to die so easily, even horrible criminals. They deserve to die horrible deaths. Tie both of their legs to bowls and have them pull and rip their He goes on a journey to fix what is broken in him. Some of you may think I'm talking about his psychological health, but I'm actually talking about his Drake snake. It might seem like a far stretch to say that Rudius actually develops the most during his time trying to cure his ED, but I swear the Magic College arc amounts to more than just their MC getting hopped up on Viagra and unleashing his 10-meter defeater. Seriously though, Rudius learns how to develop meaningful connections in a normal setting through as regular circumstances as he could manage. While some of his friends become attached to him due to some fetishized foreplay, there are others who he forms genuine bonds with. He grows to learn what real friendship is, and soon enough, what a passionate romance is meant to look like. It makes me happy to see a show develop their characters like this. Going into the recent season, Rudius is able to live out his days in a way that he could have never imagined in the past. He comes across situations that remind him of his past life and how miserable he was then. Even if he might have been in similar struggles, there's no way for him to know how to solve it for those affected. I have my own share of depression-induced breakdowns, but just because I'm like this doesn't mean I should be giving unsolicited advice in an arrogant manner. That'd be like a testosterone pumped up beast of a man giving advice to a newbie on how to deadlift 500 pounds. While this is true, Rudius now has the strength and empathy to help Nanahoshi and Norn. These episodes were really impactful for me, and it perfectly showcased one of the major reasons I love Mushoku Tensei. It emphasizes the growth of these characters through the compromises they make as people in emotional exchanges. Rudius is able to call on his past life and use it to boost his understanding and growth in this new life. Once these everyday misfortunes happen in the show, the plot ramps up in terms of intensity, and then comes the labyrinth exploration arc. This part of the story perfectly puts into perspective how vast the world of Mushoku Tensei is. Despite everything that Rudius has already gone through, this world keeps popping out more surprises. Like the worst rap bar in history details, it's more crazy than a short lady trying to give birth to 84 babies. First of all, true, but do not ever cook again. I think your oven's fucking puffing up fumes. To speak honestly, the world of Mushoku Tensei is a fantasy world that has widespread ecosystems with a wide range of ideas implemented into them. The monsters vary from cute little birds to deceitful hunters. The landscapes range from snowy mountains to lush jungles. It's strange to see this from my perspective because being from Los Angeles, the scope of climates I experience is the heat death of the universe to just less hot. In addition to this, the way that people get things done in this world is different from our present. From an American perspective, which I know, after the recent election debates, doesn't hold much value. Bureaucracy is handled in a brutal manner. Illness and psychological issues are talked about as if they are curses. When someone has PTSD in this world, their friends encourage them to face it head on as soon as possible. We weren't that much different from them either. Back before depression was an officially coined term, trained doctors used to tell their patients to drink alcohol and affected women to go have a family, which we should all know what kind of people say that nowadays. There are a variety of classic fantasy features about Mushoku Tensei, like dungeons and labyrinths littered with all kinds of traps. A certain half-foot would be able to clear it with ease, but regular humans, and even worse, Rudius, who does not originally belong to this world, may face more difficulties with traversing these dangers. As many fantastical concepts as there are, experiences that we would have in this world are common in their world as well. Being compared to your siblings can result in a demonizing feeling. I know because my older brother has seen so much success, and here I am, talking into a wall about cartoons while trying to seem introspective. Stereotypes exist in this world, and with the range of races that appear in what we've seen so far, I wouldn't put it past this world to have the same amount of horrors that we've seen ourselves in our existence. Professional racists aren't just unique to this world. This also means that people could be more inclusive than ever in Mushoku Tensei, and given how Rudius is an otherworlder, I assume he hasn't been entirely ingrained with teachings of discrimination, and as we've seen, he's missing some natural instincts when it comes to sensing dangers that others find obvious. The world has so many secrets that the series has yet to unearth. We don't even know if we'll get to see all of them, but like professional casino goers say, 95% of gamblers quit before they hit it big. Where there's value to be had, there is some sort of treasure to be gained. It doesn't necessarily have to be with the plot points of the story or the world that this anime resides in, but the characters who inhabit these areas. With the customs, traditions, miracles, and tragedies that make up this landscape, each character has a different viewpoint to bring to the table, and in that perspective comes influence. The side characters in Mushoku Tensei aren't shallow, in the slightest. They have their own experiences, and whether or not it's to bring comedic relief or insight on a subject, we always learn something. From Persena and Rinia exhibiting animalistic qualities and customs from their tribe, to Cliff being the most regular dude we've seen in this world. I mean, come on, he just wants wifey to be happy and not sleep with other men. If we move over to the main cast, they're full of depth that isn't stereotypical of anime tropes, and an analysis of these characters might be the same as deep diving into Mariana's Trench. Roxy gets reintroduced into the main story during the Labyrinth arc, and it's heartwarming to see the reuniting of Rudius and Roxy. Other than the grooming allegations, you could say they have a wholesome relationship. Roxy is someone who has been looking for a purpose in their life, and she had dreamed of finding someone to settle with and call them her meaning in this wretched world. She was tired of doing everything alone, and with the dangers in the dungeon after she got trapped by herself for days, you could say this would have been the breaking point. Despite being so powerful, she isn't invincible from dangers, whether it be the horrors of monsters or the loneliness welling up in her heart. Sylphie is someone else who didn't have much when she was a child. Before meeting Rudius, she was bullied and put down. She found a home in Rudius' family and friends, and after branching out, even if forcefully and in dire circumstances, she could stand on her own. However, she still wished that she could see Rudius and his family again, which she was able to do after a long period of endurance. It feels weird getting sentimental, but Mushoku Tensei is genuinely a story filled with moments like these. They aren't one-off examples, but an interconnected web of events that have impact on each other. Unlike a Lucio that dives the backline and dies, resulting in no impact, the stories of these individual people have effects on their personalities, ideals, values, and beliefs that drive them to live their lives how they do. I won't sit here and convince you that the polygamy in the show is valid, because it really just depends on where you land when it comes to consuming media. I mean, in real life, I would want a Cinderella-like tale where I meet my one and only and get whisked away into the story night. Something I have to mention though is that the way the story maneuvers these taboo topics and concepts is mature, and it all comes back to the development our characters undergo. Fitting for a world where these customs aren't all that abnormal, and the cast we love have been raised in these traditions and developed their viewpoint based on these customs and events they personally go through, the girls in Rudius' life understand that he cares about the people surrounding him. Unlike his past self, Rudius is well adjusted to this world and understands how to treat people. Rudius has developed so much due to the events in his past life and the new environment and people in his new life. It is thanks to these relationships and occurrences that Rudius is able to call on wisdom while simultaneously being willing to intake and develop new insights based on new guidance. The characters in this show are able to come to an understanding, and I only hope we can do the same in our own world across cultures and topics, whether it be AI's role in the art industry or tragedies occurring around the world. If you want to support me, I have a Patreon you can check out. I'll also be streaming a lot on my Twitch channel, so you can find me there as well between uploads. You can also join my community on Discord or follow me on Twitter to see the shit that I mauled at. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, like my video and subscribe so you can see future uploads of mine when they come across. Thank you, and I'll see all of you next time.